Hey sand fans and dune ticks, Sand Phil here. Thanks for coming back to the channel. Well, guess what? Today we have a new project in the shop. We have a Polaris Sportsman 500 HO. I believe it's, the guy I bought it off of said it was a 2003, but by running the VIN and everything on it, I'm pretty sure it's a 2001. But that's okay, we bought it pretty cheap because it needs a lot of work. Let me grab the camera and we'll do a quick walk around on it. Alright everybody, well here it is. Now, I've already taken a bunch of parts off of it, and some of them were taken off when I bought it. Like, I have the front plastic and part of the front rack. And here's what's weird is the back plastic is all camo and so is the front, but yet I have this kind of stuff. I have a yellow front part here. We'll go over here to the Vincent. It's parts holder right now. I've ordered a bunch of new parts for it. I've also got, see, here's the side panels on it. It's like they tried to paint them or something. There's the air box and everything. We can kind of look in the back of it here. One of the problems was, this is a weird deal. You know what? I'm going to set the camera down and I'm going to tell you this story. Alright everybody, it's Sasquatch Racing story time. Let me tell you the story about this Polaris because it is weird. I mean, there's just no other way around it. It's just weird. So, this was a local buy. I bought this not too far from my house. And like I said, I live in a small town, so I don't know. Maybe the stories get weirder when you're in a little town. I don't know. Maybe the same things happen in the big cities, but you just don't notice them as much. But anyway, so let me tell you what happened. I was flipping through Facebook Marketplace and I ran across this Polaris 500 Sportsman. It said it was an 03. The ad said that he was riding it, then it jumped out of gear, then it wouldn't go back in gear at all, and it probably has a transmission problem. And I'll just be honest, the guy said he wanted $800 for it. So I called my buddy Drew, you know Drew, Village Tactical, and I said, hey Drew, what do you think about getting this? And I started looking around on eBay and some other sites to see how much a full transmission would be for this thing. And we decided if we could get it for about 500 bucks, we could put a transmission in it, fix it all up, and sell it, and still make a little bit of money on it. So that was the plan. So I sent this guy a message and I said, hey, if you'd take $500 for it, I'll come get it right now. And so he immediately messaged me right back and he said, well, let me check with the guy that owns it. And so I messaged him back and I said, you don't own it? What's the deal? Well, he said, no, let me get in touch with this guy and I'll get back with you. It's getting weird, right? So I'm thinking this is a shady deal, but anyway, the guy messaged me back and he says, hey, give me your phone number and I'll have my buddy text you that has the four-wheeler. And I said, well, okay. And so I sent him my number, and then this guy texted me and he said, hey, I hear you're interested in buying my four-wheeler. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I don't know when hang on, let me back up because it got weird here. I said, I'll come get it right now. And he goes, oh, do you live in Oklahoma? And I said, yeah, I live in Oklahoma. I thought this was just a couple miles from my house. And he said, well, let me get back with you. Okay, so I'm thinking this is weird. Really weird. And he said, well, that's good because I'm in Oklahoma too. That's what he texted back. Well, you know, Oklahoma is a fairly big state. I mean, it takes a couple hours to drive all the way across it. So I don't know where this guy's at. And so anyway, he goes, I said, well, he wouldn't tell me exactly where he was. And I texted back, I said, okay, if I were to drive to where this four-wheeler is, how long would that take? And he said, I don't know, I guess it depends on where you're from. And I said, I already told you what town I live in. I live in Ardmore, Oklahoma. I'd already established this. So it's getting weird, really, really weird. And he said, well, I live in Ringling. Well, Ringling's not that far from Ardmore. I mean, it's about a 35, 40-minute drive. So I said, well, that's fine. I said, can you bring it in? He works here in Ardmore. So I said, well, could you just bring it into Ardmore and I'll buy it from you? Well, he goes, well, I don't know if I want to sell it. I said, well, you have it for sale on Facebook Marketplace. And he goes, no, that's the other guy I bought it from. So apparently, this guy is the guy who bought it from the original guy who still has his ad up on Facebook. Okay? Even now, it is still, the ad for this is still up on Facebook. Now, I own it now. Okay, so hang on. It keeps getting a little weirder. So I offered the guy $500. I said, you know what? $500, you bring it to me, I'll just pay it, I'll load it, no problem. I don't even care that the transmission's bad. He texts me back and he goes, what do you mean the transmission's bad? I said, well, in the the Marketplace ad, it says that the transmission is bad in this. It wouldn't shift into drive. So did it magically heal itself or what's the problem? He goes, no, the carburetor's just messed up and it leaks gas. Okay. And I said, well, I told him at that point, I said, I think I'm out at my $500 bid. I said, this is just too weird. I mean, one guy's saying the transmission's out, you're saying it just needs a carburetor. I said, I can't afford to rebuild the whole top end and put a carburetor, or I can't afford to rebuild the motor and put a transmission in it. Then it would get it out of our price range. So anyway, this guy swears up and down that the transmission's good. And he says, well, I'll tell you what, if you'll give me $700 for it, you can have it. I said, I'm not paying you $700 with this weird story. You know, I don't know exactly what's wrong with it, and I don't know what I'm getting into. I'd feel real comfortable at $500, but that's it. And he goes, well, I'll just have to think about it. I said, okay, whatever. Here's my number if you want to get hold of me. Well, a couple days go by, and then he sends me a text and he goes, hey, if you'd pay $650 for it, you can come get it. I said, look, man, I don't know the story on this. It sounds really weird. You know, one guy's saying the transmission's out, and he sold it to you, but now the transmission's fine, but it just needs a carburetor kit put in it. I said, it just sounds too weird, man. I said, I'd be really comfortable at $500, and that's all I'm going to pay for it. And then he finally texted back and he said, well, at $500 you have to come get it. I was like, okay. So anyway, I got in the truck, drove to Ringling, paid $500 for this thing and brought it back. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I haven't done a whole lot to it. This guy, I guess I don't know. I still don't quite understand the story. I think what happened is the original post on Facebook Marketplace, this guy sold it to the guy in Ringling. Okay? But then I messaged the original guy, and he put me in touch with the guy in Ringling. Well, I bought it from the guy in Ringling, and now it's here, but yet the ad is still up on Facebook Marketplace for the original guy that was selling it. So, like I said, it's really, really weird. I ordered a new carburetor for it because I'll tell you, when I was on eBay looking for carburetor kits for it were about $40, and a new Chinese carburetor for it was like $30. So I ordered a new carburetor for it, and I put it on. I'm sorry I didn't show that on camera, but the thing is the new carburetor is leaking gas too. So there's something weird going on there that I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is. I haven't messed with this a whole lot. I did put a battery in it, and I know it turns over. There's no electric up at the switch. You can jump the solenoid across and it will start. That is something that the second guy said was wrong with it. He said that it needed a solenoid, and I ordered a new solenoid that came in today for it. So anyway, guys, that's going to end this video on this one. I know my story got kind of long. I promise in the next video we will tear into this thing. I'll take some plastic off of it. We'll see about putting a solenoid on it, see what's going on with the carburetor. Anyway, this is going to be sand fill out. Make sure and visit Drew over at Village Tactical. Description's in here. I've still got a bunch of stickers. Remember, they look just like this. Anyway, this is going to be sand fill out. Be safe on the dunes.